Witajcie, witajcie. Jadę do Dublina. Jedziemy do Dublina na zlot NPS. NPS Roadshow 2025 w Dublinie, bo tutaj mam bliżej. Więc jadę do Dublina. Parking, adres parkingu muszę wbić, tylko właśnie, gdzie jest ten kuźwa adres? Ajajajajajaj, dobra, wyszukam go zaraz, więc jadę. Byłem pewny, że nie pojadę, bo mi idzie kamień na nerce i się kiepsko czuję, ale żona jedzie ze mną, więc może dam radę i może dam radę coś dla was nagrać, tylko muszę wbić adres parkingu do telefonu. Muszę sobie go do auta wysłać, więc mamy 3 godziny drogi w jedną stronę. Aktywny dzień. Myślałem, że już nie pojadę, ale zawziąłem się, że tak powiem, i robimy próbę. Także do zobaczenia z trasy. Na razie. Wrzucam adres. Ok. Dobra, widzimy się z trasy. Zobaczcie, taki kawałek będę jechał. No licz. Jest 115 mil, 2,5 godziny. Dobra, na razie, do zobaczyska. Cześć wam. Przysłali mi takie zaproszonko, więc na razie, cześć. Ładna pogoda, świeci słońce, trochę chłodno. Miałem już nie jechać, ale stwierdziłem, że nie dam się pokonać chorobie dzisiaj. Impreza raz do roku. Dostałem zaproszenie jako członek NPS Nikona, czyli Nikon Professional Service. I postanowiłem 3 godziny w jedną stronę i pojechać. Także teraz będzie jedzonko, ale nie, tutaj idziemy na takie angielskie jajka. No chyba tak. Śniadanko dosyć spore, zobaczcie. Tutaj kaszaneczka, bekon, fasolka, kiełbaska i jajko i tosty. Tyle to ja nie jem. Najwyżej na wynos wezmę. Smacznego. Teraz kawusia i jedziemy dalej. Lawazza weźmiemy. Lawazza, kawa. Do zobaczyska. Traś. Wygrała tańsza opcja, świąteczna. Świąteczne kubki mają.
Nie biorę gingerbreada, nie jestem fanką.
No, kubki mają świąteczne. Powiem wam, że zimno jest wciąż. Mam nadzieję, że tam na hali będzie cieplej trochę. 4 stopnie. Na te warunki to jest minus 10 000. No. Najdłuższy tunel, jakim jechałem.
Światło widzę, światło.
To zaboli.
Auć.
To zabolało. Jedziemy. Ludzi nie ma, dziwne. Tutaj takie śluzy są, nie? Takie są śluzy, to coś musiało być albo zwodzone, albo są pod spodem jest kanał, który coś tam robią.
Zielony było przez 3 sekundy.
No gdzieś to jest ten kanał jest, to się musiało otwierać, jakoś zamykać, śluzy jakieś takie stare, jeszcze koła zębate są pochowane. Amfibia tam pojechała, Wiking. O, ale awesome. Same autobusy w tym Dublinie, tu też obok. Miasto autobusów. W Londynie tyle nie widziałem. Poważnie. Albo w Londynie mają metro, dlatego. Tramwaj mnie dyndał. Dym, że z drogi zjeżdżał. I uciekał. Dym.
Mało idzie dostać.
Wszędzie tramwaje jeżdżą. O, są takie te. Arnold Car Park. O, Arnold Car Park. My tutaj wjeżdżamy.
Tak, tam jedziemy.
prawie na miejscu. Jestem na parkingu. Będę się szykował. Zaraz się widzimy. Ground. A my jesteśmy gdzie?
Na drugim.
Na drugim, muszę zapamiętać. Ground. Trzeba rękawiczki w moim przypadku. Dzisiaj ten obiektywik, bo nie będę miał czasu ostrzyć ręcznie.
Dobra, lecimy na nawigację, gdzie ja tam się będzie. 4 minuty drogi.
Pograsz mi sznurówkę.
Tam też.
Bierz rower. Jaki pies. Tak, tutaj.
Coś przejechało.
Tak to ładnie. Jeden, tak?
Ej, to. Za zaproszenie.
TC Kubę, no. Tu jest TC Kubę.
TQ. Gdzie jest TQ? Gdzie ty widziałeś TQ?
Jeszcze jest zamknięte. To na pewno dzisiaj?
19 novembra.
Trzeba poczekać, jeszcze jest zamknięte.
Interesują, tak? Miejsce.
Nie? Weźmy trochę ponagrywać, jak to są zdjęcia. Mikrofon powinienem wziąć, ale trudno. Moja żona mówi, że jak to wygląda?
Jakby szukali ludzie, żeby go zabić.
Jego okraść, napaść i zabić. Super oferta, wiecie, nie? Wchodzicie tam w łeb i...
No słuchaj, te drzwi wyglądają jak do opuszczonego budynku, starego, opuszczonego, wiesz,
budynku.
sakra.
Jak z tych filmów, co oglądasz.
No.
Ale jest bardzo ładna pogoda, na szczęście nie pada. Mamy dziwne uczucie, dlatego że jakby tutaj imprezy w ogóle nie było. Jesteśmy prawie że jedyni, ale ktoś tu się przychodzi i zerka, ale to chyba na owoce. Ja się tu mam wrażenie, jakbym był sam. Jakbym się nabrał na jakąś ofertę, wiecie, szkolenia. Jakbym zapłacił pieniądze, to bym się obawiał, ale na szczęście żadnych pieniędzy nie płaciłem. Więc o tyle dobrze. W centrum miasta ładna okolica. Bardzo ładnie jest.
Skoro tak uważasz?
Brudno, jak to w centrum miasta. Ale tak to inaczej w sumie. W sumie po Belfaście nie chodziłem, to nie wiem jak jest w Belfaście. No zobaczymy jak to będzie. Czy coś ciekawego będzie. Zobaczymy. Zapowiada się nieźle. Aż 3 osoby. Zobaczymy. Moja dzielna żona dźwiga to. Tutaj. Masz tutaj kamerkę. Good morning.
So yeah, no, that's right. They do.
Jest operatorem.
I know, it's quite fun to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we put stick on it maybe.
My wife asked me how much you pay. This is a scam.
These doors look awful.
It's nice.
You know, think of it as a kind of
I can recording? I can recording?
Yeah.
features in the ZA. It's got all of the focus options.
Yeah, we can start the presentation at.
Not that
Okay. No.
We've got some kids on the table with that with anything particular. We've got most of our rooms there.
and things like that as well. Morning.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I must show my wife what must she buy me for Christmas.
Okay,
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah,
I think yeah, that is fine. 40 grand, something like that. Not too much. Yeah, 40 grand.
Thank you for coming along. Do help yourself to tea or coffee or
Okay.
water there. But yeah, we haven't got we weren't able to bring the full range, but we've got a few.
I have something cheaper. This is 85. It's 50. 35. Ah, can be good. Cheaper. Yeah.
1,000 or more?
Almost three.
Yes, cheaper.
Cheaper.
Still not 50 points.
Tu mi będzie chyba gorzej z wózkiem. No bo tutaj ten będzie gorzej. Dobra, tutaj, chodź. Tu już tutaj. No dobra, to chodź tutaj, ja sobie wezmę. Żebym sobie mógł coś... Nagram coś tam. Będzie widać? Będzie widać. No dobra. Kamera zbierać. Tak, poproszę. Kawę. A ty co chcesz? This is new one.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, absolutely.
6.3. Can I ask you just on the menu? Yes. It's something last night on the 6.3.
Oh, you've got it yourself, have you?
Yes.
great.
And when you go into the shooting menu
Yes.
and you want to AF only on, it says
Powiem tak wam, że ZR z gripem dobrze się trzyma.
Yes.
and then the option is AF
Nice grip.
Yes.
and you go enable
Nice grip. Yeah. Why not for the ZF not be the same?
Oh, let's have a look.
You may need a lens.
Yeah, I'll put a stick a lens on.
Yeah, I have ZF. I know. I'm use that for every day.
So you want like
Yes, it's better. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to see it to understand, but let's have a look. Let's have a look.
So I think it's A6.
Nice, nice.
If this button is activated, the so it's
Could you check 35?
is on the shutter. It's not
Here.
rated very well.
this is 135.
Yeah.
1.8.
Yeah,
Yeah, this one.
I can check. Oh, give me a second.
No, sure.
But when it's enabled, you keep it on. Sure.
Okay.
So if it's on that,
But when you hit the
Żono, uśmiech.
what you mean it's not very
Okay.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean,
but it's still on.
it's not really clear what that means. Is it?
Okay.
But you're right. It's saying off. So it's off. Yeah, gotcha. So now it's now on both.
Seconds.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah. We can feed that back. I mean, these things I would, as you probably know, it's been pretty much. I would imagine it's had that
100.
terminology since probably something like the D2, D3, so probably 20 years. So they probably won't change it now, just because, you know, irrespective of it's kind of a little bit misleading, it's kind of what everyone's used to. But it's a fair point, I never really thought about it. Yeah, no, absolutely.
14. Wow. Taki sobie muszę kupić do Mac, do tego, do Streeta.
And that's on a Z63? So it's obviously relatively new.
Do you have maybe 85? 1.2?
We've got the 1.4.
Well,
we've got 35.
I mean,
35.
I'm wondering, there's no, I mean,
It's
with the button
here.
being
The
there,
button, yeah.
Yeah.
I would assume probably there's no danger that you're blocking the sensor for the eye. So, I mean, that's possible. but
Uśmiech.
it depends how
To jest 35, kawał armaty.
It's fair to say that
Tu się
camera buttons can become defective in our scene.
czekaj, bo ty mam 1.2 przysłone. Próbujemy na 1.2.
Usually it would only be
Yes.
an awful lot
Aparat jest mój.
or something's got into it, wet, something like that. Yeah, so it could be that. I mean, is that what's happening? Yeah. I mean,
It does seem very odd. Commitment.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, gotcha. No, I don't. No, that's
That'd be
fair
interesting.
observation. I think that terminology on that is
It's
what
just
I'll
a
do
bit
is
confusing.
yeah. I can
It's
certainly
dirty.
speak to my colleague
Do
who
you
works
have
for our
cleaning?
European technical office because he collates all the feedback from all over Europe and they send it to Japan and sometimes we get feedback if it's a sort of a really particularly technical inquiry that could be useful for a lot of people. They might feed it back. Something like that, I would imagine they might be too proud of the the system they've had for years and
Maybe
probably
it's,
wouldn't
maybe
comment
it's a
back.
case of lost in translation.
Sometimes it is, yeah. No, absolutely, you're right. I mean, sometimes not everything is that clear on the menu. And sometimes the
thank you so
terminology
much.
doesn't quite. There's a few things, especially on the likes of the Z8 and Z9. If you didn't really read through the menu completely, you wouldn't quite understand exactly what they were to do. But yeah. You're right.
Żono, ja tutaj na tobie testuję.
Otherwise, the kit's going away. Yeah, and you're enjoying the Z6
Yeah, I did. I had a 6 originally.
Yes.
24-120, całkiem fajny obiektywik. Nie, ten niedrogi. Niecały 1000.
Yeah, the feedback we've had on the has all been really positive actually.
Sorry.
Really good.
I put back.
Everyone really likes it. It's so much better than the Z6 and the Z6 II, to be
And
fair.
I'm not unhappy with the screen, the way it rotates.
No, it's all just because I think different people have different opinions on that and there's no right or wrong. Absolutely. A lot of people like the screen the way it comes.
Zrobisz mi zdjęcie telefonem.
It's very important to
Dobra, dobra. Nie będę podpinał.
How are you liking your ZF?
This is my camera for every day.
Yes.
I'm lot of time use it for art lens, Jupiter 8, something like that. And Z9 I have for wildlife models, with work with models. That be for walk, you know, streets, something like that.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This is great, only you know, my Santa is not rich.
Oh, sorry.
My Santa is not rich.
Okay.
The-
We don't have it with us today, but there's the 400/45.
yes.
Worth considering. I mean, it's a lot lighter and optically still really good.
Yeah. I have 180 to 600.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I have 180 to 600
Yes.
that I use it for
Yeah.
my back.
Yeah. 180 600 is great. It's fantastic.
I'm disability and I work with worker and I use a special, you know, hand here.
Okay.
And it is very good because not change size.
Yeah,
If I use it Sigma, I have problem, you know,
Yeah.
and that not change. That for me,
Yeah.
it's more easy,
Yeah.
you know.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's a lot lighter.
Morning.
Explain
Not bad,
that
how you
when I
doing?
go home. I just bought
Good.
the original
Thank you
budget.
for coming along. Nice to see you.
I just trade the other one in.
It's possibly.
Yeah.
Feel free to put yourself in.
So used to having another event.
I recognise that.
Yeah, this pancake is 26. This is the same cheaper, yeah. It's nice.
I recognise faces. It's been a while.
Last time I saw you, were very pursuant.
Oh, okay, quite possibly. Yeah. No, because you did put your camera here, and I thought that's a mistake. Surely not a double.
No, it's the only one.
This is new one.
I just had two, yeah. So
Yeah, I have one.
I couldn't do. I was away abroad working for London,
Yes.
and I live in Herefordshire. It's actually cheaper right here than it is to go.
That one and 85 1.2 for my list.
Oh yeah.
Only my Santa need change work, you know, job for more income.
I hope you're not.
She buy me first camera, you know, and
Things and stuff like that. No, we're all good. Everyone's doing all right at the moment.
wyjmij mi jeszcze raz tą kamerę, Z-kę. Z9, sprawdzę sobie ten obiektyw. Okej. Zrobię Ci oczywiście ponownie fotkę. Okej. Pokaż się ładnie. Smile. I teraz... Yes. Oh, that's very nice.
Slowly, because changing over to the red glass as well.
Have you got any?
A podłączę go sobie, 400. O.
I mean, it's a great game.
Weź tam tego, zrób mi zdjęcie. Yeah. O Boże. O, jakie ostre. O, to bym chciał mieć. No, daj.
Sort of long primes are really good. Yeah, really good.
I can go home. See you, bye.
Yeah, okay.
Potrzymaj. A nie, tam mam, czekaj. Tutaj mam. Nice.
Having Zoom is very convenient.
There's a friend of mine.
How are you?
So I was in Paris myself.
Powiem tak, zabawki fajne. Najbardziej podoba mi się 400 f2.8, to duże. Ale musi poczekać w kolejce, aż będzie trzecia generacja i wtedy kupię za połowę ceny. Bo na razie, ale jest to dźwigać. Jednak te 180-600 nie jest taki ten super. No, także żona zrobiła mi zdjęcie z tą armatą, to tak wygląda, możecie zobaczyć. Zresztą widzieliście, jak robiłem nią zdjęcia. Zaraz będzie wykład, obejrzę, czegoś się nauczę, szansa jest. Postaram się to nagrać, żebyście też mogli coś z tego mieć. Zobaczymy. Fajna, miła atmosfera, niedużo osób. Nie jest to typowy spęd. No. Zyskuję, bo wziąłem żonę, więc mam prezenty razy 2. Pewnie jakaś szmateczka do okularów, ale będą 2.
Moja szmateczka do okularów.
Gąsie to będzie do tych lensów. Kocham Cię bardzo.
Moja szmateczka do okularów.
Z Nikonem będziesz fuj. Wycierać okulary. Taka angielska. Tutaj jest nowość Nikona. Włączył z drugiej strony. Zoom. My byśmy chcieli wideo. Zdjęcia są. Okay. Mówią, że tam niewygodny do trzymania. Powiem Wam, że nie jest źle. A ta druga ma gripa i z tym gripem, tutaj ma taki dedykowany grip i ten grip jest rewelacyjny. Może Wam pokażę, czekajcie. Sorry.
This is an amazing lens.
It is.
It's really effective. Yeah, I think Rob will do that at about 12 o'clock.
Sorry. Zobaczcie, z tym gripem jest wyprofilowany bardzo ładnie i naprawdę trzyma się jak konkretne bezlustro. To jest klatka specjalna do niego. Tutaj macie na przykład lampę, możecie podłączyć. Jest taka szybka jak stopka, więc są, albo rączkę dodatkową, tą wiecie, taką. Macie dużo tych do przymocowania. To jest dodatkowa klatka, ale jest świetna. Ten grip ma rewelacyjny. Mówię Wam, że jest rewelacyjny. Ten mikrofon fajny jest, że jest. Ta klatka jest super. Powiem Wam, że daje radę z tą klatką. Macie na dole kartę, więc macie dostęp do wszystkiego, do baterii, więc jest spoko. Mógłbym z tym chodzić. To jest 51,4, waży to trochę. Cięższe jest od ZF-a, zdecydowanie, ale czuć, że się ma fajny sprzęcior, tym bardziej z tą klatką. Na plus. Malkontenci mogą marudzić, tylko przełącznik wideo zdjęcia jest trudny. Tutaj trudniej jest go, trzeba wygiąć palca, ale to jest takie, wiecie, famaberie są do przeżycia. Elegancko. Super. Ale jest też taka sama rączka do Nikona ZR od spodu, bez klatki. Bardzo dobre. Uchwyt jest fajny. Pod palca tutaj. Szkoda, że ZF takiego nie ma. No.
Okay. So when you see the images, sorry.
Ale nie można mieć wszystkiego. Dobrze, że jest.
That's all right. Can everyone see the screen all right? I appreciate it's probably not the very brightest projector, so apologies about that, but everyone can see the screen okay? Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. Well, first of all, thank you very much for coming, guys. It's really good to see people here. We never know exactly how many people are going to turn up, but I would say this is a good result. So I really appreciate you taking the time out to come and see us. I know a few of you have travelled quite some way to get here. I did get some feedback this morning that it wasn't great to park here, so I do apologise. I thought we couldn't get any more central. This is like the middle of the universe here, isn't it? But I thought it's a great location, but what I didn't think about is the parking. So if anyone had any real difficulties parking or getting here, I do apologise, and we'll consider where we go next time. But always nice. I always say this when I come to Dublin. Always really nice to come here. I'm half Irish myself, so my dad grew up in Dublin, so I feel like in a way this is my spiritual home. And we had a nice night out in Temple Bar last night. So forgive me if I'm a little bit fuzzy this morning, but nice to be here. Anyway, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Rob McNeice. I head up Nikon Professional Services, cover the UK and Ireland, and I've got my two very able assistants with me today. I've got Jack. I asked for fun facts about everyone that I could share with you. Jack is actually descended from a witch, a real life witch. So behave yourselves or we might put a spell on you today. My other colleague, Leonardo, he doesn't talk about it much, but actually this year he won the Annie Maunder Prize in the Astronomy Photographer of the Year competition. So I think that's a little round of applause. Fantastic. So basically, I'm going to talk to you about the Nikon Z system today, because we have that. It's so complicated getting stuff into Ireland these days since Brexit, unfortunately. So we had to hand carry stuff, so we couldn't bring quite as much of our range as we would have liked to. Speaking to some of you this morning, I think some of you have probably got more kit yourselves than we brought, but hopefully we've got the main things for you to see. So the Z system now has been around for about 7 years, and it started with just 2 cameras and 3 lenses, but it's really grown since then. We've actually got 47 lenses now. So going right through from 14mm to 800mm, covering you for most of the things that you need. And the feedback we get on the Z system has just been nothing short of phenomenal. I think everyone that has moved from DSLR to mirrorless has generally been really pleased with the sort of the improvements in quality and so on, and all the advantages that mirrorless photography can bring you. So a great lot of lenses, and as I said, I'll talk through some of those and some of the cameras as we go through. So looking at the camera lineup, Nikon have done some really good things, made some really good decisions over the last few years, and we're really gaining in popularity with our current lineup. Whether you're an enthusiast and starting with something like the Z30, or at the very top end you've got the Z9, we've got a camera to suit every sort of photographer's needs, right through to sort of high-end professional work. And our cameras have won an awful lot of industry awards. So they're making some really good decisions in terms of what they're putting into the cameras. So looking at the top end, the very top, if you want a really good workhorse, if you want a really rugged camera that can do pretty much everything, the Z9 is the camera of choice. So it's got 45 million pixels. It's got our latest generation of raw processing, which is X-Speed 7, which means it can do a lot of things really quickly. So you can shoot 8K raw internal video, which is really amazing. Something that none of our competitors can do with their cameras. You can shoot 120 frames a second. You've got pre-release capture in there as well. You've also got a feature called auto capture. And the camera, as I said, has won loads of awards, including the TIPA award for the best camera, DP Review Best in Class award as well. So everyone, I think, is in agreement that the camera is absolutely fantastic. But we keep on making it better with firmware, and that's something that I wanted to just briefly run by you, because not every photographer always updates their firmware. I'm sure most of you do, but it's always worth doing. So at the moment, the current version of firmware is 5.2. So since the camera came out, we keep adding sort of major firmware updates with a lot of new features. So running through some of the main features that we put in shutter angle in version 5.1, which is something that we had as feedback from a lot of the cinema industry. We've also put in AF assist for pro photo. So something that a lot of photographers have sort of complained about, if you like, is that our speed lights, like the SP5000, unfortunately on mirrorless cameras, there's no system for AF assist. So with the latest firmware, if you're shooting with ProPhoto A10s, you can actually use the modelling light on the speed light, and that will give you an AF assist. So really good feature. We've also added NX Field, which is something I'll briefly talk to you about as well as we go through. Now, NX Field is a really good system. If you're a sports photographer, or maybe you're dealing with surveillance, or maybe you're a wildlife photographer, and you want a camera somewhere where you can't be, then you can completely control multiple cameras from your phone or from an iPad. It's not available for Android, so it is Apple only. But if you've got an iPhone, you can, and an Ethernet adapter, you can connect multiple cameras to your iPad, and you can completely control them from the app, which is completely free. Now, up until a few months ago, you actually had to pay to get your camera upgraded to be compatible, but Nikon Corporation thankfully decided that they wanted to give it to people for free within our sort of pro cameras. So that's something that was added with firmware 5. You've also got Rich Tone Portrait, which is a new picture control, which gives you really nice, vibrant skin tones, and auto capture as well as 60 frames per second high-speed capture, which was put in with firmware version 3. So this is looking at NX Field. So you can see there, this is what, on the left, this is what you see on your iPad. So you can see multiple cameras. Now, I was in some training with my colleagues from Japan a few weeks ago, and they said they were actually able to connect 24 cameras simultaneously to this app. So as long as they're on the same network, you can do it wired or wirelessly as well, but it works better wired, especially if you're in like a football stadium or somewhere where there's a lot of traffic. But it's a really, really good system, and it enables you to completely control every single aspect of the cameras that are connected. So you can change things like the shutter speed, the focus mode, white balance, all of that stuff. And you can change all of those things from your iPad. You can also FTP your images, so if you're a sports photographer or a news photographer and you have to instantly send your images somewhere, anywhere in the world, you can look at all the images that are on each camera, and you can choose to send them anywhere in the world at the touch of a button, and it's very, very easy to use. The French agency AFP were using this in the Paris Olympics last year, and they had it along with our robot camera system, which I'll show you in a little while as well. They were able to wirelessly control lots of cameras in places where photographers can't be. So don't worry, it's not there to replace photographers, it's just there to allow you to have additional cameras in remote places. This is the Rich Tone Portrait picture control. I don't think this, I do apologise, the projector probably doesn't do a great example of showing it. But basically you can see, probably not, but on the left hand side you get much more vibrant skin tones whilst sort of retaining the detail but without oversaturating any areas of the image. So that's something that we had as feedback from a lot of portrait and wedding photographers, that they felt that some of our competitors' cameras had better colours for shooting people. So we addressed that with the Rich Tone Portrait picture control. Auto capture as well. This is something, do any of you already use auto capture? A couple of you do, with good success? Yeah, great. I mean, I was speaking to, that's good to know, because I was speaking to some photographers last week. We were in the roadshow in Manchester, who work for a company called Marathon Photos, and they have, I think they have something like 20 or so, maybe more photographers shooting marathons and race events and so on. And they have, on all of their events now, they set up cameras with auto capture. And this is a feature that you can use in the Z9, the Z8 or the Z6 III. And basically what it does is it enables the camera to automatically take pictures based upon certain criteria. So you can base it upon whether the camera sees motion and in a particular direction. So you can choose if something's going in one direction across the frame, whether it's left to right, up or down, or even diagonally. So when something meets that criteria, the camera automatically takes pictures. But also with subject detection. So if someone walks into the frame, or if it's a bird, so this could be really useful again for wildlife photography, or if again you're doing surveillance, something like that. So it could be a person, an animal, bird, or a vehicle. If one of those enters the frame, then the camera automatically takes pictures. Or if something appears at a certain distance as well. So you can be very, very specific, and you can add those criteria up as well. You can also choose what part of the frame the subject appears in as well. So you can block out certain parts of the frame. So if you're looking, for instance, for a bird that's only in the top right-hand corner of the image, and it's going from left to right, then as soon as that appears, then the camera will automatically take pictures at the given frames per second rate. So a really nice feature for certain areas of photography. Going back into our camera lineup now, the next camera, which I know a lot of you already have and love, is the Z8. The Z8 is my camera of choice. I love the Z9, but we're none of us are getting any younger, and the Z9 is a little bit more on the heavy side, and I often go out on my bike with a camera, so the Z8 would be the one that I would choose. Again, like the Z9, 45 million pixels, intelligent autofocus. It's got the same amazing video capabilities as the Z9 as well, but smaller and lighter body. And again, the Z8 has won numerous industry awards. ISA Product of the Year in 2023, TIPA Best Camera in 2024, and it's actually racked up over 25 industry awards. And I think a lot of you still have and always loved your D850s. I know D850 was always my favourite camera for many, many years. But the Z8 is basically like a mirrorless D850. So really, really good camera, and will cope with pretty much anything that you want to throw at it. But we've put in quite a lot more with the Z8 as well with firmware updates. So the current version of firmware for the Z8 is version 3.1. We put in a really, really useful feature called Focus Limiter, which I'll talk to you about in a minute, in version 3. We've also added Pixel Shift. Now, Pixel Shift enables you to take much bigger resolution images. So if you're shooting something like architecture, perhaps a landscape, but typically something that's not moving, and obviously you've got the camera on a tripod, it will take a series of images that you can then automatically stitch together using Nikon's free NX Studio software, and you can get a massive, massive file. So with the Z8, with the Pixel Shift, you can actually get a 180 megabyte image. Sorry, megapixel, sorry. 180 megapixel would be more than 180 megabytes. So you can get a huge amount of detail. We've also put in a lot of custom controls for video, because we're very much aware that a lot more photographers these days are being asked to produce video content. On the subject of video, by the way, what I've done is I've separated it out. So obviously our biggest release this year has been the ZR, which is a video focused camera. You can still use it for stills, but I won't talk about it in this presentation really, but we will talk about it in the afternoon. So for those of you, all more than welcome to stay for the whole day after lunch and learn a little bit more about the ZR in the afternoon, but I won't be talking about it this morning. So we've done that. We've added auto capture as well with version 2, and also the rich tone portrait feature with version 2 as well. So I'm just going to tell you about the focus limiter, because it's not something that everyone is aware of, and it's a really, really useful feature. Actually, my colleagues, my friends from Sportsfile a few years ago actually sort of said that they were photographing cage fighting. And it was very difficult, because the camera's autofocus system was so good that it would pick up on the cage, obviously they're on the outside, of course, and wouldn't always shoot through at the fighters. So what the focus limiter does is it addresses that, because you can actually set a minimum and a maximum distance for the camera to focus at. So that could be used for a lot of different applications, be it sport, certainly wildlife as well. So if you don't want the camera to accidentally focus on something that's too far in the background, then you can actually set your nearest and your farthest point, and your camera will only focus within those distances. You can do it in one of two ways. You can either you can set the focus limiter setting within the custom setting menu of the camera. Then you can point it. You can either point it to your closest subject and click OK, and then point it at your furthest subject and click OK, or you can actually manually dial in the distance. So if you know the distance, if let's say you're in the example of cage fighting, and you know that the cage itself is let's say 3 meters away, but your fighters are going to be 4 meters or so, you can set the minimum limit to 4 meters, and you know that there's no danger that the camera will accidentally focus on the cage. So a really useful setting for a lot of different applications.
Right.
Yes.
Is that available on the Z9 as well?
So no, that's a very good question. It's not available on the Z9, but I would like to think that it will be. As you probably know, firmwares tend to kind of sometimes leapfrog each other, and sometimes, much to people's who've got the Z9's dismay, things come out on the Z8 first, and then so whilst I can't give you a cast iron guarantee that it will be on the Z9, I would like to think it will come on.
And it speeds up the focusing, presumably.
That's a good point actually. It's theoretically, probably. I mean, as you know, the focusing's so quick anyway that you might not notice it, but on paper maybe it might improve by a certain number of milliseconds.
It'll stop it from ranting anyway.
Yeah, it would definitely. I mean, you're probably aware that, you know, compared to DSLRs where often the lens would have to go beyond the focus point and come back, you don't have that issue so much with mirrorless cameras. It will just find it and jump there straight away. So hunting is not so much of an issue these days, but you're right, theoretically it would improve in that respect. Yeah, so that's a good question. Yeah. So going through to the next camera I just wanted to mention on the lineup, and it is our sort of latest mirrorless camera with the exception of the ZR we're talking about this afternoon, and that's the Z6 III. Now the Z6 III is an amazingly good little camera for the price, and I'm speaking to a lot of pro photographers that have bought Z6 IIIs and are actually really enjoying using them. It's not got the high resolution of the Z8 or the Z9, it's 24 million pixel, but that actually does have some advantages. Obviously you've got smaller file sizes, but also having less resolution means that the camera's better in low light as well. So the Z6 III is a really good camera for low light scenarios. It's also got the same processing engine as the Z9 and the Z8, which is our X-Speed 7 processor. So it means, it's really fast. And it's got all of the autofocus features of the Z8 and the Z9. So every single type of focusing that you can do on the Z8 and Z9, you can do with the Z6 III. Theoretically, it won't be as fast with focusing because it's got a partially stacked sensor rather than a fully stacked sensor. But it's still, I mean, I've yet to speak to a photographer that hasn't been blown away with how good the focus is. So it's really worth considering if you want an additional camera for travel, or you just want to keep your kit weight down and so on. It's a great little camera and it packs a real punch. And again, it's won loads of industry awards for being the best in its class. So it's a really good price as well. Also, because it's got our latest technology, it's actually our best camera in low light for autofocus as well. So it will focus down to -10 EV, which actually even beats the Z8 and the Z9. It's also got up to 8 stops of vibration reduction as well, with the in-body stabilisation in conjunction with our lenses that have VR as well. So for low light, it's a really fantastic camera. And it will also FTP as well. So again, if you're a news photographer or a sports photographer and you have to send your images, anywhere in the world instantly so that they can appear on a website or what have you, then you can FTP straight from the camera. For those of you that don't know what that is, that basically means that your camera is constantly connected via Wi-Fi to either your phone, or you might have a little MiFi device or something like that. And basically, you set it up on the camera. It used to be very convoluted to do it, but it's very straightforward now. You just put in your FTP site details, Wi-Fi details of your phone or your MiFi, and then it's connected and you're ready to go. And then at the touch of a button, you can send your image anywhere. And that is why often news images or sports images, you can see them on a website. You can see a picture of a goal being taken a few seconds after it's been taken, and that's because the photographer has sent the image via FTP straight from the phone. So, straight from the camera, sorry. So really nice thing. It's also got our latest technology in terms of the viewfinder as well. So it's got a 5760,000 dot viewfinder, which is really, really high resolution. And a lot of photographers that picked the Z6 III up for the first time noticed that. And in comparison to sort of our previous cameras, it really does give you a very, very clear image. But it's also a lot brighter as well than our previous cameras in terms of it's the brightest EVF on the market. So it actually matches daylight. So if you're outside on a very bright contrasty daylight today, the brightness of the viewfinder will look the same as the brightness to your eyes of real life, which is really good. It helps your eyes and helps ease the viewing and so on. Again, it's got the pixel shift feature. Because it's a lower resolution camera, you can't get 180 million pixel images with it, but you can get 100 megapixel, which is really good. And it's fully weather sealed as well. So again, for professional use, while it might not be, quite the beast that the Z9 is, it's still a camera that's very, very well worth considering. In terms of firmware as well, we're now on version 2. So again, if you've got the camera, definitely worth upgrading because we've added auto capture, we've added the pixel shift, we've also added bird subject detection, which was something that I think we had feedback when it first went to market. A lot of wildlife and bird photographers were unhappy that we didn't go to market with that. But also with firmware 2, you can also use it as a very high resolution USB web streaming camera as well. So if rather than just using your normal webcam, you could use one of these and get really, really impressive live streaming quality. And it has also got the focus limiter as well. The other camera, I know some of you already have, and I love this camera, is the ZF. The ZF is our retro style camera based on the iconic FM2 FE2 design. My first Nikon was an FE2 and I love that camera. And sadly I part exchanged it for an F80 and I don't know why I did that. I should have kept the FE2. But this is designed on that iconic look. 24 megapixel, again it's got our latest generation of image processor, which is the XB7, and again it's got 8 stops of in-body image stabilisation. So for low light photography, again it really is a great camera. It's got all the subject detection options, and it was the world's first camera to have focus point VR. So that means that not only does the vibration reduction help, but it actually concentrates that on the actual part of the image that you're photographing, so it actually makes it even more effective. And it's got the pixel shift feature as well. So up until this year it was available as a black body, but this year I was really pleased to hear that we announced a silver body as well. So my first Nikon was the silver one, and that's my favourite as well. And it looks really, really nice and feels great as well. But it's also available in a range of colours as well. So there are 6 different colours that you can get with the black body, and there are also 6 different colours that you can get with the silver body as well. And that is a Nikon online exclusive. Hopefully all of you have been able to get a goodie bag today. In there's a little discount voucher as well, so you can get a further 10% off your next Nikon purchase on anything you want to buy, whatever it is, with the exception of the ZR and with the exception of third-party accessories. So you can go and buy 10 Z9s if you want, 10% discount. And we've already got really good savings on at the moment. We've got instant savings, so you can add a 10% on top of that discount. ZF firmware has also been improved over the past few years as well, so we're now on version 3. Features that we've added is film grain, which is really nice. The option to do vertical video shooting as well. So if you're an Instagrammer or a Facebooker or you tick and you talk, then you can turn the camera on its side and you can shoot vertical video, and it will tag the video as vertical, so you can upload it straight to sort of phone devices and so on in vertical format. We've also put in imaging cloud support as well, which is something that, excuse me, I do apologise. Sorry about that. We put in imaging cloud support as well. So basically Nikon last year introduced a free service called the Imaging Cloud. So with certain cameras, you can, with basically the ZF, the Z6 III, the Z5, the Z52, you can register for the Nikon Imaging Cloud. It's completely free, and it will give you 30 days free storage of your images. And you can either send individual images to the Nikon Imaging Cloud, or you can have everything being sent to the Imaging Cloud while you're shooting. So you've got a little bit of backup, a little bit of peace of mind that your images are being stored. And then from the Imaging Cloud, you can send those to whatever other cloud storage you've got, whether that's Adobe or Google or whatever Dropbox, all of those sort of popular Imaging Cloud subscriptions. So it's a really nice feature. Another thing that's great about the Imaging Cloud is if you register for it and you connect your camera, it will automatically upgrade your firmware for you. So you no longer have to do that yourself. The camera will just do it overnight. Every night it turns itself on at midnight and it checks for updates. And if there's an update, a firmware update that's been released, it will automatically do it while you're asleep or what have you. And in the morning, your camera will automatically be firmware upgraded. You don't even have to leave the camera switched on. So really, really nice feature, worth considering that. We've also added high resolution zoom for video as well, which means if you're shooting video, you can very, very sort of smoothly have a digital zoom that kicks in. You may be aware, but we've introduced a couple of power zoom lenses now as well, which are sort of more video focused. So you can zoom with the power zoom on the lens, but then when that gets to the end, it automatically carries on. If you want it to, you can select it to automatically carry on with the digital zoom as well. So it will keep going seamlessly, keep zooming in. This is an image to show, again, I'm sorry, I think the low resolution projector doesn't show it that well. This is an image that Jack took of Lemon Days, sorry, my apologies, of a band, of the film grain. You probably can't see it so well on the screen there, but really nice film grain feature, which goes really nicely with the ZF, because obviously a lot of people that use it want it for that sort of nostalgic feel, but you can also have a nostalgic look to your images as well. So there's different, you can have it in various colour and black and white formats. Don't ask me what film grain it's emulating, I don't know, but it does look very, very nice. In terms of lenses, this is our most significant lens release this year. It's only been out a couple of months, and already the feedback I've had on it is really, really good. So it's a new 24-70 f2.8Z. The existing one is great, don't get me wrong, we're not saying that you need to run out and buy this straight away, but there are a lot of advantages. So if you're still on the F-mount version, or you're thinking of you've got the 24 f4 and you're thinking of upgrading, then this, I can tell you some of the things that we put into this that make it really advantageous over its predecessor. So first of all, it's 5 times faster in terms of the focusing. I mean, I don't know how they've done that with basically a voice coil motor. So it's got a much faster focus motor. It's the same type of technology that we've got in our 400 f2.8 lens. So it's absolutely super fast in terms of its focusing. It's also 50% quieter, which is nice. As you know, obviously mirrorless cameras can be completely silent, and this day and age there are a lot of places where, I'm sure you'll know as photographers, people don't want to be making a noise, and certainly if you're the only person in the room with a D6, everyone knows about it. So you can have your camera be completely silent as well, but actually the lens, obviously lens motors will always make a sound, but this is quieter than its predecessor. It's got near zero focus breathing as well. Focus breathing is basically when you focus from a near subject to a far subject. Historically, lenses will very slightly have to zoom a little bit to do the focus, and this eradicates that problem, which is really, really good for videographers. Other things that are great for videographers are the fact that it's a lot lighter, so putting it in a gimbal and even hand holding it and what have you, you'll notice that weight reduction from its predecessor. And it's also the world's first 24-70 2.8, or it was the first 24-70 full stop that's got an internal zoom, which is a really, really good advantage. So when you zoom, the front of the lens doesn't come out. So that's great for hand holding, but it's also really good if you're putting the lens into a gimbal as well. It means that you don't have to reset and rebalance your gimbal according to your zoom. So a really nice feature there. Another great feature is a declickable control ring. And basically the ring at the back here, you can assign that to do different things. A lot of our, certainly all of our S-line lenses have that ring, and you can assign it to be exposure compensation, or you can assign it to be ISO or aperture if you want. Now previously, on all of our previous lenses, the ring didn't click, but on this one you can choose to have it click or not. And I don't mind admitting that last year I was at Richmond Park photographing lovely moonrise, and everything was perfect. There was no clouds, it was really great, moon rising up over London, and the big lens. And I accidentally knocked that, and I didn't realise, I knocked it from f4 to f45, which meant I was on aperture priority, which meant my shutter speed went from something manageable like 125th to like an 1/8 of a second. So every shot I took, I didn't realise the moon was completely blurred, which was really annoying. Now, had it been clickable, I would have felt that haptic feedback and I would have known that I would have done it. You can always assign your ring, as you know, Nikon cameras are infinitely customizable in terms of assigning buttons and rings to different things, but you can always turn it off so it doesn't do anything. But having that click, and then you'll definitely know if you've accidentally knocked it. The lens has also got a fluorine coating as well, which means that prevents ghosting and flare and so on. And it's got nanocrystal optics as well, which eliminate internal reflections as well. So you get really, really clear and sharp images. I've got a few examples from Leon Neal, who is a photographer, one of our ambassadors, who works for Getty in London, but he goes around the world doing assignments for them. And he gave me some feedback. He was one of the first people to trial the lens when it came out a couple of months ago. And he said that this was a really, really low light situation. But the lens absolutely nailed the focus here, absolutely no problems at all. And also having the lens without that protruding external zoom meant that he could balance it in his hands easier as well, which also meant that he could use slower shutter speeds and get away with them in low light where you can't use flash. This is the Colne Valley Viaduct section of the new HS2 railway being built in the UK. This is now the UK's longest bridge, and Leon was sent out to photograph this. And he sent me this image just to say that this was with the 2470, absolutely no distortion on the edges, the verticals are perfectly vertical, so really, really good in terms of its optical performance. And he thought it was better than its predecessor in that respect. This is a picture of some guy in the cinema. Yeah, again, very, very low light situation. This was taken in Mumbai, and Leon said that the lens was really, really good in low light again, enabling him to use low shutter speeds, but also to nail the focus in low light. This one was taken by an NPS member called Mansour Ahmed, who takes basketball shots, and obviously these guys are going quite fast and they're turning round quickly, and he said that this new 2470 just nailed every shot and got the focus absolutely bang on. So again, much better than its predecessor. Another lens that we've introduced this year, which again we're getting really, really good feedback on, is the 35mm f1.2. If you guys want to have a look at that, we've got it here today. It completes our trinity now of 1.2 lenses. We've got a 35, a 50 and an 85. And every photographer that owns these will tell you that they are really, really something special. Obviously we've got the 1.8 lenses which have been around, and the 1.8s are brilliant, they're so good for the money, so sharp. But these give you a really extra special bokeh, really make your subject ping, and they're very, very nice indeed. I'll tell you a story. I was in Qatar year before last for the World Cup, working there, and basically I was suddenly called into a meeting with the Japanese technicians, and I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't know they were going to do it. So I was a little bit off guard, and they were asking me for feedback on stuff. And they were asking me for feedback on the Z9. I said, everyone loves the Z9, it's a great camera. And then they said, what do photographers think about the 50mm 1.2? And I said, well, everyone loves it, but it's a little bit big and heavy. And then one of them said, he designed it. I said, oh my goodness. And he couldn't speak English, but he translated for his colleague. He said, do your photographers want it to be as good as it is? And I said, yes, of course they do. And they said, well, it needs to be that big and heavy. So these lenses are, compared to some of the others, they are bigger and heavier, but they give you absolutely stunning results. So if you've got your own kit with you today, feel free to take some shots. If the weather bears up for us, if you want, apparently there's a nice view from the roof up here, which I can imagine we can go out later and take some shots if you want to try any of the kit that we've got with us. So looking at the quality from that, I didn't tell you what it said there, but I'm sure you all saw fast 1.2 aperture. It's our S line, so it's our sort of high-end, top quality build, weather sealing and so on, Arneo and nano crystal coatings, and they all help prevent internal and flare and ghosting and so on. And it's got an 11 rounded blade aperture diaphragm, which means that basically you get a really, really nice, soft, creamy bokeh. So it's good for any scenario, especially portraiture, environmental portraiture, weddings, that kind of thing. Certainly when my kids were young and they actually liked having their pictures taken, I always had a 35mm on my camera. I just love the sort of look you get, and it's just a nice focal length to be able to capture your subject within its environment. So that kind of thing for weddings again. Again, I do apologise. I don't think that this projector really does the lens any justice, but the quality that you get out of it is really, really very nice indeed. Minimal distortion, but really beautiful the way it renders things absolutely sort of crystal clear, but throwing the focus beautifully throwing the background beautifully out of focus. Now the Plena, it's been around for a couple of years now. I've spoken to a couple of you about this already today. This is the lens that you didn't know you wanted. Every photographer that's tried this, some photographers feel like they need 135mm, but some don't. But many years ago, before the days of zooms, 135 was a standard lens for a lot of people. With football, it was kind of your standard sort of mid-range lens in between wide and telly. And Nikon produced this, and it is absolutely stunning in terms of what it can achieve. Absolutely flawless bokeh, so beautifully out of focus, creamy backgrounds, exquisite rendering, fast autofocus. Again, it's our S line, so it's the top end in terms of its build quality. It's got the control ring and function buttons and so on. But it just gives you absolutely beautiful, stunning rendering on everything, especially for portraiture. But you could use it for different things. But every photographer I know that's either bought one or trialled one said, I didn't want this lens, but actually having used it for a little while, certainly photographers that borrowed one just went out and bought one because they just loved it so much. Again, I don't know if the projector is going to do this any justice, but those absolutely perfectly round highlights, which you don't typically get with other lenses. You often get what they call onion rings, so they're not perfectly round, but this lens is designed so well and so perfectly that all the highlights are just rendered as beautiful circles. So for portraiture, again, any highlights in the background, again, this projector isn't that sharp, but you can have a look at these on my laptop if you want to later on. The eye is absolutely crystal clear, but the background is just absolutely beautiful and just falls off really nicely. For portraiture, you can just see that shallow depth of field and how that works so well. I took the Plena home and I was absolutely blown away with the results. I took some pictures of my kids, but 1.8, the depth of field is a whisker. So you have to stop down really, depending on your subject matter. Because I found I was taking pictures of my kids and one eye would be sharp and the other eye wouldn't be sharp. Even to the point if you're quite close up, you'll get a little bit of the eye will be sharp, but not all of it. So yeah, stunning results from that. Again, for wildlife photography, that kind of thing, you just get absolutely beautifully soft background. So it's the lens that you really didn't know you wanted. Another lens that we produced early this year, a bit more video focused, is the 28-135, which is really nice for, I've spoken to a number of photographers that are using them. Actually, one of the Getty photographers in London uses these for red carpet photography because he just loves the sort of the versatility that focal range gives you from pretty wide right through to a nice tight sort of crop on a person's face for red carpet. But mainly sort of aimed at the video industry. This one is our power zoom, so it's got a control on it, which means that you can zoom via a button rather than physically turning the lens. but that also means if you connect your camera to an additional grip like our MCN10, for instance, you can actually zoom remotely, which means you don't have to touch your camera setup at all to zoom. So you get really, really silky smooth zooming. It's also got a gear pitch as well. So on the focus screen, this will enable you to this will enable you to connect to a focus motor. So for those that want to do focus pulling with an additional motor, you can do that directly on that. Really stable centre of gravity as well. So again, if you're using it in a gimbal, something like that, then it's not going to change as you, the centre of gravity is not going to change as you zoom. And again, like the 2470, suppressed focus breathing, which is great for the video industry, and linear manual focusing as well. And it's as part of our cinema range of lenses, and we know we are going to have more in the future. It's got a nice gold ring at the back, so if you don't like it for any of the other reasons, get it for that. So I said I wasn't really going to talk to you about the ZR, which I won't, but we will do in the afternoon. But I'll just give you a little quick teaser video. I haven't tested the sound, so I don't know what the sound's going to be like. I hope it's all right. Oh, it's coming out of my laptop, sorry. Told you I'd be sure. Okay, but for those of you that want to learn about ZR, we've got a couple of them here today, so feel free to pick it up and have a go. It is a phenomenally good camera for the money, and it really is going to sort of put Nikon out there amongst our competitors in terms of what we're offering for the video industry as well. But for anyone that's concerned, I've had feedback from photographers saying, does that mean that you're not doing stills? We're absolutely concentrating on stills as well. So we're expanding out, but we're not taking a step back from the stills market. Another thing that I wanted to just briefly mention is our SR1 robotic head. So Nikon's had a couple of really exciting acquisitions in the last few years. Obviously Red last year, but a few years ago we bought a company called Mark Roberts Motion Control, who are very established in the cinema industry, and they create robotic solutions for video cameras. So they've got a big arm called a bolt, which lightning fast can move the camera sort of position to position. All very, very clever, the guys that work there, and all controlled by very, very smart apps and so on. But we've got a solution called the SR1, which we couldn't bring with us here, unfortunately, but if anyone does want a demo, I can actually arrange a physical demo to show you it, because it's a really nice solution for certain areas of surveillance, sports. This is what I mentioned earlier, that the AFP were using these at the Olympics last year. I think it was around about 18 of them they had in various stadia throughout Paris. For different events, and they were controlling them remotely alongside the Nikon NX Field software that I was talking about. So this has got its own app, which means that you can control not only the direction, so you can control the pan and the tilt, but also the zoom as well. So you can control all of that from anywhere remotely in the world. You could be controlling that from the other side of the world if you wanted to, see what the camera's seeing and point the camera at what you want to point it to. It's actually the lightest robotic head in its class. It's 4.7 kilos, and it's got a 4 kilo payload as well, which means it will take a Z9 with a 70 to 200, no problem. I think they've been able to put the 800 5.6 onto it as well, and 180 to 600 f6.3. So a really, really nice solution if you want to be able to remotely control not only what your camera's shooting, but where it's pointing as well. It's got a pan range of plus minus 150 degrees. Really, really quick as well. 52 degrees per second axis speed. So it's great. I always like to finish on this slide because this is just a summary about all the things that are great about Nikon. I don't know if there are any non-Nikon shooters here today, maybe not, but certainly in our London venue last week we had a few photographers that came on that were thinking about moving to Nikon, and this is what I like to say that sets us apart from all of our competitors. Firstly, very high production quality. Whenever you buy a Nikon product, it's very, very rare that you get it and out of the box it's not working. Image quality. First and foremost, Nikon have always been an optics manufacturer. We made lenses, and not everyone knows this, but we used to actually make lenses for, sorry to use the word, but for Canon back in the day. And so we make lenses for the sort of microscopy and various areas of healthcare, also for binoculars and scopes and things like that. So we do produce the best lenses, there's no question about that. But also in terms of the actual image quality from the cameras as well. I speak to a lot of picture editors that see images coming in from photographers using various cameras, various brands of cameras. And nearly always the picture editors like the Nikon images the best. They give the best colours, best dynamic range, just overall they ping better than the cameras made by our manufacturers. Durability as well. Nikon cameras are durable. That's why if you look at sort of Arctic explorers and so on, people that are out in the most rugged conditions, they will typically favour Nikon cameras just because of the build quality, the weather sealing, reliability, so on. Also a story I've got from the Winter Olympics back then, this is a couple of years ago now. Where was it? Korea. Was it Korea?
Yeah.
Thank you. One of our photographers, Dylan Martinez, this was when the Z9 first came out actually, and he was photographing aerial skiing, and he said it was minus 30 degrees. I think I told this story last year, so forgive the repetition, sorry. Minus 30 degrees, and actually one of the cameramen lost all his fingers due to frostbite. The conditions were that harsh. But he said that all of his competitors using the, I won't say the C word or the S word, all the other cameras, their batteries were all failing, but he was able to keep going because the Nikon batteries were better than our competitors. So Nikon really do think about that. In terms of operability as well, we really think about that, and I think everyone would agree, if you've had the misfortune to use other brand cameras, then you'll know that our menus are just so easy to use. We really think about where everything is in the menu, and we haven't changed our basic menu design since the D1 in 1999. So if you can pick up one Nikon camera and use it, you can pick up any Nikon camera and you can work out where things are in the menu. We haven't changed our system, it's all very, very simple to use. We also think about the ergonomics as well, so the feel of that camera in your hand. It feels really nice. You know, it's really important how the sort of the tactile feeling you get with the camera, the button placement, and I genuinely think that Nikon, obviously you wouldn't expect me to say different, but I genuinely, objectively believe that our competitors don't have that down as well as we do. Also system compatibility as well. You know, we haven't changed. Obviously we changed the lens mount when we went to via the FTZ adapter. You can use any of the Nikon lenses made since 1959. The speedlight system we haven't changed either, so all the older speedlights will work on newer cameras and vice versa. Even things down to like the fact that the Z9 and the Z8 have got a 10-pin connector. I mean, that system's been around since the Nikon F4, so that means you can still use a 30-year-old MC30 to trigger your camera, which is really, really nice. The other thing about Nikon is our high precision development and manufacturing. As I said, Nikon don't just make lenses for cameras, we make it for microscopes and things where absolute quality is required. So I think you should all be very pleased with yourselves that you've chosen the best camera brand. I'm just going to have a look at the time. I've rabbited on for nearly an hour. Thank you for staying away. I will open it to any questions and answers, and I'll try and answer if anyone's got any questions. I'll try and answer them. No? Yes.
Yeah, I forgot what you call it, but you can take photographs remotely. You said it was, excuse me, not available for Samsung for.
No, that's right. It's a good question. I don't think it will be. No, I was actually in. As I mentioned, in training with some of my Japanese colleagues a couple of weeks ago, and that question was raised, and they said no, unfortunately not. I don't know the rationale behind that, but it's only I find them like that.
Supporting America.
Maybe. Okay. Yeah. No, it's a very valid point. But I would say if that is a good solution for you and you need that kind of ability to control cameras remotely, it would worth be buying an iPad for.
Of course, especially.
Yeah, yeah. Any more questions? Yes.
Rob, I tried to sign up that image cloud,
Yes.
but it wanted to know what state of the United States I lived in, and it wouldn't. I couldn't do it. So maybe it's updated since then, but originally.
I don't. Okay. I mean, whilst I've had a look at it, I genuinely haven't actually used it myself, but I am aware of it. But I'm not sure. I would have thought that the QR code would take you to a kind of a UK and Ireland page, but maybe not.
No, it didn't.
We can look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's
Now this was when it came out originally. But
Yeah.
It's updated since.
okay. Oh, so it's okay now,
I know I didn't try it since.
right?
I didn't move to the States.
I can try and find a reason
that's
for that.
just
I
to-
don't
just
know.
to-
It's the first I've heard actually, but fair point. Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Just a question regarding the Z7 Mark II.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry.
Would you compare its features closer to the Z6 Mark II or Z8 or
In terms of the Z7 too.
yeah?
Good question. Bit of both. From a point of view of obviously the resolution, it's the same as the Z8, 45 million pixel. So if you want a camera that you're going to be able to crop in and you've got that really big amount of detail, then the Z7 II is closer to the Z8. But obviously from an ergonomics perspective, speed, that kind of thing, is kind of more like a Z6 or a Z6 II. It's pretty much, the Z7 II and the Z6 II are pretty much identical apart from the resolution. That's the only real difference in the two.
And with the the firmware update you were saying that allows you to take a picture once it tracks, like the auto capture, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Would that work with the Z7 Mark II, or is that not available for that?
I don't think it is it? No, unfortunately not. And I don't know why. No idea why. I don't think it would. Whether it's hardware based or it might be due to the processor. It might be only cameras thinking about that are XP7, and the Z7 II is not. It uses two XP6 chips, so that's probably why. Yeah, because the camera's doing an awful lot of processing to do that.
You're continuing line Z7 and not?
Will you continue?
Will there be another Z7?
Yeah.
It's a good question. It's one we get a lot, and I genuinely don't know, but I would have thought probably not.
Yeah, I did the same thing for. I
Yeah.
don't think so because you have Z9, Z6 III.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think I would have thought. I don't know for certain. It could be that there will be one next year.
Because now it's a
but
little bit.
I feel like the message is if you want a 45 million pixel,
Because
then the Z8 is the camera.
Now a little bit move because Z5 II is similar for Z6 II, but
Yeah.
have AF for 9.
I didn't mention it, but the Z5 II is a great camera
Yeah,
for the money. Really good. Yeah, I mean we don't class it as a professional camera. That's why I didn't really talk about it today. But again, I've spoken to pros that bought Z5 IIs.
Because
it is a good camera.
Z6 III move for video,
Yeah.
that I think for people buy normal Z6 II, now buy Z5 II, that,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's funny because as I sort of loosely alluded to, but basically a lot of the technology from the Z9 has trickled down to Z8, Z6, Z5, Z50 even the Z52 has got a lot of the technology of the Z9. So we've really thought about that and put some high-end features into lower-end cameras as well. Yeah, yeah. So there's definitely good cameras there for everyone. Yeah. Any more questions?
Sorry,
Yeah, that's all right.
can you bring up the photograph at the back of the camera where you have the firmware things on it?
Sure.
I just want to know what the three numbers are all referring to.
That's a good question, and I knew someone might ask that.
Who would it be?
It was on the Z9, I think. So
It's
I'm
one of
doing
them
this
that's
way
to
to
do
do the
with
voice.
flash, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So one will be the lens, one will be the camera. The C is camera.
And the lens.
The other one is the lens,
There.
and then there are, I think,
You heard it
yeah,
there.
LF is the lens. I'm not
I
sure
can't
what
read it from
that
here.
is.
LF. It's
Yeah. Does it? Jack knows.
I know.
Thanks, Jack.
C for camera, LF is for lens firmware, the other one is a GPS firmware.
Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you for remembering that.
GPS.
Yeah, so I guess every so often they'll update the firmware on the actual GPS unit in the camera as well. Yeah. Yeah.
So C is the
C is
firmware.
the camera, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the L is. So, as you obviously already know, but lenses can from time to time have firmware updates as well. Yeah. And you update them in exactly the same way as you would the camera. Yeah, with the lens attached, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? If not, we'll go and grab your lunches. I think I'm aware that there were 1 or 2 people that came after we took the sandwich order. So, no, I'll go and get it. So if you let us know what you want, we'll do that. Anyway, cool. So, okay, well, it's kind of lunchtime. So, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers.
One more question, sorry, it seems to be hogging the floor.
No, not at all.
I have a Z9 and I've set it up all the way I like it and saved the settings, you know, so that they stay there. If I got a Z9, Z8, I mean, would I be able to transfer those settings to it?
No. Annoyingly, each camera obviously can change from one Z9 to another Z9, obviously. But no, they're never cross-camera compatible, even with cameras that are as similar as the Z8 and Z9. So it'd be a matter of going through everything.
Yes.
Did you know that anything that has been changed in the menu has an asterisk next to it? Anything that's been changed from default?
On the menu at the back? No,
Yeah.
I didn't.
So it's a salient point actually for anyone that's changing settings from one camera to another. If you go through the menu, anything that's got a little asterisk next to the menu number, that has been changed. So it's a way
Since the previous one?
Since the camera was the factory setting.
Oh, not just since the last firmware update?
No, since camera settings.
Okay.
Since factory settings.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good one.
Great. All right, thank you. Shall we let the blinds up? Let's see. Yeah.
Udany wykład był. Do toalety są 3 piętra w górę. Mój odwieczny wróg, czyli schody. Wchodzę na górę, a koleś mi tak kładzie ręce tutaj i mówi: gratuluję Ci, że tu dotarłeś. Parsłem śmiechem. Mówię do niego: dzięki Bogu, nie ma więcej schodów, bo by było wyżej. Także atmosfera fajna. Ludzie są zadowoleni. Czekamy teraz na kanapeczki i będziemy spadali pewnie do domu. Która jest godzina? 13. No, jeszcze 2 godzinki to potrwa. No, dzionek udany. Ale słońce razi. Tu jest zwykła cieska piątka. Pokażę Wam coś. Zobaczcie. Tutaj jest 180 600 i 428. Ten jest większy. Więc 180 600 nie jest wcale taki duży. To szkiełko bardzo mi się podoba. Plena 135 1.8. Szkoda, że nie moje. Także no to w miarę. Z63 i 51.4. Jaśniejszy wizjer w Z63. Tutaj. Taki pancake by mi się przydał. Widzisz, święty Mikołaju? To się nazywa pancake taki. 28.
Pod zły adres czekam.
Pod zły adres czekam. Obraz jest taki. Bardzo ładny. Spoko jest.
and it did now, yeah. But now
Zoom cyfrowy.
it's very easy. If you know all the material you need, I bought these all
Bardzo ładny sprzęcior. Trzeba przyznać.
Yeah, we'll talk about the ZR a bit later as well. I mean, you've got videos there, but I can
parallel to stuff I'm doing in terms of so typically shooting video with the Nikon
50-11.
but again, just getting that.
They do with the 9 as well, because obviously you've got the larger megapixel sensor, you've got the 24 one in there, so that's 3. And you can obviously do photos and videos and switch them back. So yeah, and on the side, you can quite 6K, 60p.
Something in the room.
Like 4K at 160. You've got some new features like floating audio. It doesn't slip.
Bardzo, bardzo ładnie. Święty Mikołaj mówi, że to nie ten adres. Także fajna impreza. Wolałbym jednak coś manualnego do streeta z Voigtlandera albo coś takiego. Może TT Artisan. Obiektywu za AF mam wystarczająco. Ale jakieś 135, 1.8, plena. Kusi, ale po co? Nieźle. Dostaliśmy lunch, więc pójdzie lunch. Nie wiem, nagrywa czy nie nagrywa, bo mi tu się wyświetlają różne. Nagrywa. Lunch. I pewnie pomału będziemy kończyli tę imprezę.
Jeszcze chwilę, jeszcze godzinę czasu będzie.
2 godziny do 3. Coś będzie. Teraz zjemy kanapeczkę. Nie najgorsze te kanapki, co?
Guys, do you want to? Should we just feel free to say no? If you're happy for us to go with the second seminar now? Yeah. Is that all right?
Sprawdziłem sobie, bo u mnie ten przycisk tak dosyć ciężko chodzi z tutejszymi Nikonami Z9 i Z8 i chodzą dużo lżej, więc muszę wysłać go do serwisu na naprawę włącznika. Szkoda, bo to od nowości tak chodzi.
It'll be quicker to be fair. I'm not going to chat on for another hour. So, nice. This week.
Are you letting me go down?
I think better out, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
And can also, if you haven't scanned the QR code.
Oh yeah, we didn't say. But if you don't mind, it's not mandatory. But if you'd be so kind to scan the QR code, there's a few questions. It would be really good to just get some feedback for. If you're leaving, don't worry, we don't have to have it. It's yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
See you later, thanks.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Are you staying for the?
Yeah.
Why? But it's not refreshing the page. Let me just. Engineers reset. Unplug it back in. Still not. Okay. Sound projector off and turn it on again. That works. How does it off? Okay, what's that? Turn that off and turn that on again.
We need a fingerprint.
Still need a fingerprint.
There we go. There we go. So, are we still waiting for someone? Or should we? Let's just hold on. Sorry.
I think most people have done this already. If you haven't and don't mind filling out the QR code, that would be
It's definitely there. Yep. Right.
This is your day. This is your day.
Drag one book. That's cool. I mean, cool.
Sit down for this one.
That informal seminar.
Is that? Can you pull that curtain?
It is.
Because it's going to be further across.
No, I don't think so.
We can turn off those lights, I think, if you want those spotlights off. But
It seems bright.
It might be better
Yeah,
if
it's-
we can. Did you see where the switch for them was?
I think it's that black cable really behind you, is it? Because
Oh.
the light. You just let the light out.
Hang on.
No. No.
That one. No. So that's an HDMI. It's not that. Yeah. Never mind. No, let's take it. It's fine. Okay.
Does one go to the roof? Is that what it was?
Sorry?
Does one go to the roof rather than the lid?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you think?
Shall I go check?
Yeah.
It's alright, we can wait. Is everyone alright just holding off just a moment? Yeah.
We're slightly early anyway.
We are starting, yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Right.
He's on the phone.
Oh, do we need to do that briefly?
Sorry? No, it's open there. He's on the phone.
Oh, okay. Let's just wait. Let's wait for a second. Good, good. Oh yeah, we decided we'd just start the seminar a little bit early if that's all right. Yeah. Just 10 minutes early. So yeah. So this one won't be as long, you'll be pleased to hear, but I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the ZR, which is our very, very exciting and fantastic new camera. So, as I'm sure you'll all be aware, in March 2024, last year, Nikon acquired Red. Now, Red, I'm sure you all know, but for those of you, any of you who don't know, are a company based in California who produce cameras for the cinema industry. So a lot of the films you've seen, I think one of the more recent Superman films was filmed on Red. A lot of the stuff on Netflix, all filmed on Red cameras. And Red being very well admired in the cinema industry for production of really good quality cameras. They've got some really great camera technology, producing a sort of a good range of video capable cameras from about the £8,000 mark for their sort of entry level to around about £60,000 for their V-Raptor. So producing some really good cameras. We bought them and they really punch above their weight. They're a relatively small company, but they are, as I said, very well known in the industry. There are a lot of things about Red that Nikon admired, like the fact that they are attuned with the cinema industry. They've got really good colour science. They've got very, very good RAW capabilities in their cameras. Good dynamic range in their cameras as well. There are a lot of things that Red admired about Nikon in terms of our sort of build quality, our processing. They really like the Nikon XP processor and really like the quality of our cameras, the usability, and obviously our lenses as well. So what has come out of that? Well, a few things have come out of that collaboration. First of all, we integrated Red colour science into our cameras via downloadable LUTs. For those of you that don't know what LUTs are, it's basically lookup tables. And it's basically an algorithm that means that you can colour grade your video to make it look how you want to look. So if you're seeing something in the cinema or something on Netflix, quite often it will be very stylised. It might be that the blues are very muted, or that it's looking a little bit, what's the word, sort of just a lot of muted colours or certain rich colours in certain areas. And that will be because the directors have used LUTs to make the colour specifically what they want to be. And as I said, we really like the Nikon, the red LUTs, and therefore last year we introduced LUTs that you could apply to your Nikon cameras like the Z9 and Z8 when you're filming. So basically to colour grade after you've taken your video. Then this year, earlier this year, Red released their cameras with the Nikon Z mount, which is really exciting. So the V-Raptor X, which is one of their high-end cameras, and the Komodo X, both now available Nikon Z mounts. What you'll probably know is Nikon, whilst the last 10 years, in fact, we were the first camera manufacturer to put video into a DSLR. The first DSLR with video was the D90 many years ago. But I think unlike our competitors, unlike Sony and Canon, we haven't really got that heritage of video, because they've always made cameras for the video industry. So this sort of collaboration with Red is definitely addressing that in a really, really big way. So what you'll find is a lot of video, so whether it's Netflix or individual video shooters like YouTubers and so on. Historically, some of them might have used Nikon, but we won't have been the most popular brand for video, which is fair to say. So then now to the next step. So this year we have introduced Z Cinema, which is fair to say we're starting with the ZR, but there will be a lot more big and exciting things to come in the cinema range. So looking at our sort of range of cameras now, on the left hand side you can see our full frame mirrorless cameras I talked about this morning. We've got some really great cameras that will be very, very good for video, but they are sort of primarily aimed more at stills or hybrid photographers. And by hybrid I mean photographers that do mostly stills but a bit of video as well. But the form factor and so on, the features don't always lend themselves purely to video, because videographers want something that they can build up, they can put on a rig, they can add accessories to for the kind of work that they're doing. So the ZR will actually cover you for loads of different areas. If you're an individual vlogger, it is absolutely fantastic. You don't need to add anything to it whatsoever. It will do a perfectly capable job. But if you're doing high-end video work, you might want to add an extra battery, like a V-mount battery. You might want to add a fan, you might want to add a shotgun mic, an additional monitor, all of those things. And you would typically do that by putting the camera onto rails, or onto a gimbal, or into a cage, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about those things as we go through. So the ZR, it kind of suits different photographers and videographers rather for various different reasons. So looking at what the ZR can do, basically it's a 24 megapixel sensor, pretty much the same as a Z6 III, which means that it's very good in low light, and it's capable of delivering 6K video, and it can actually shoot 6K raw video. Like the Z6 III, it's got very fast autofocus, very fast scan rate, thanks to it having a partially stacked sensor, which means that you get very, very reduced rolling shutter, which is something that videographers have traditionally sort of complained about with a lot of mirrorless cameras. And you can get very high video frame rates as well. As I said, it is a complete all-in-one system. So looking at what videographers typically would have to do is they would have to add an additional monitor, because the monitor on the cameras traditionally haven't been very big. But the ZR has actually got a 4-inch monitor. So arguably, you don't need an additional monitor. Another thing that videographers traditionally would have needed to do was to add a microphone. But the ZR has got fantastic sound quality built in, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that as we go through as well. So again, you don't need to add an additional microphone to it if you don't want to. Again, for professional use you can do, but for standalone videography, the ZR has got pretty much everything that you would actually need. So what we've done in conjunction with Red, I mean, it is a Nikon camera. It's not a Red camera. Red still have their range. This is still a Nikon camera, but we have incorporated the Red colour sites into it. So using Red's log 3G10 wide colour gamut, you can actually use the Nikon R3D codec, which is the same as the expensive cameras like the V-Raptor and the Komodo and so on. So if you're let's say, for instance, you're working on a high-end Netflix production and you're shooting reds, but you want dare I say, a cheap camera, and that, in terms of sort of video budgets, you know, £2,000 is very, very cheap for a camera. You could almost consider it a crash cam, or a camera that could effectively be blown up or disposed of. But it will perfectly match with the reds in terms of its colour signs. So looking at the different options, you've got the highest quality with the highest efficiency as well. So you've got a lot of different options for how good the quality of the video is, depending on what you want to do and whether you're professional or whether you want big files and so on. So at the high end, you've got 3 different raw in-camera options. You've got the Red NE, which is the Nikon Red Colour Science. So it's very, very large files, but they give you really, really high quality that you really can pull a huge amount of dynamic range out of. So for high-end work, when you're shooting alongside the reds, then you can put the camera into that. But you've also got different RAW options as well. So you've got Nikon's own proprietary N-RAW, and you've also got ProRes RAW as well, which is the Apple RAW version, which seems kind of an industry standard for a lot of people. And that's all at 12 bits, so you get absolutely huge amount of colour information with that. 68 billion colours possible. So really, really high end. But that's if you want to do all editing, colour grading and so on yourself. But if you're a YouTuber, you might not want those big files, you might want more immediacy, you might not want to colour grade, you just want really good quality out of the camera. So you could use Apple ProRes 422 or H.265, which are 10-bit codecs, which still give you very, very good quality, but without the need to do all your after colour grading and so on. Or if you want to just put something out for YouTube at low resolution or to Facebook or what have you, you've got H.264 and H.265, which are kind of industry standard video codecs that are a lot. You can't grade them, you can't treat them as RAW files, but you can still get great looking video out of the camera and much, much lower resolution, which means much smaller file sizes. So it basically means whether you're going from cinema industry right down to vlogging, there are RAW options that you can use. As I said at the beginning, in terms of the speed of the camera as well, this is something that beats a lot of the cinema cameras in the industry. So you've got 6K internal RAW, which for a lot of people is more than you will ever need. You know, a lot of videographers are still shooting in HD, which is 1080. For some things you might want to shoot in 4K, but you can actually shoot 6K RAW straight out of the camera, and you can shoot at 60 frames a second as well, which means that you can get slow-mo, or you can shoot 4K and shoot 120 frames a second. So it means you can get 4 times slow-mo if you want really silky, smooth slow motion videos. The audio out of the camera is fantastic as well. It is the world's first camera with built-in 32-bit float audio. Now 32-bit gives you a much wider sort of gamut of sound recording. So it doesn't matter what the sound is, if there's a really loud sound or an explosion and then whispering, the camera will capture all of those things without it distorting at either end. It gives you really, really nice sound recording. So again, you don't need to put an external microphone onto the camera if you don't have to. Traditionally, with cameras like this, people would always use, certainly for professional work, would use external mics, but you don't have to. The camera's got the inbuilt 32-bit. It's also attuned to working for different directions as well. So it's got 3 MEMS mics. This is where I'm going to have to call on the help of my colleagues. MEMS, do we know what that is? Does any of you guys know what MEMS mics are? Because I can learn from you. I'm not 100% sure, but they are directional. So we've used some technology that's actually come from Nokia, called Ozo audio technology, and it was something that Nokia had developed to allow you to get really spatial sound within your sort of an inbuilt microphone. So the mic's got a very low signal to noise ratio, and you can choose from 5 different pickup options. So you can have very sort of spatial sound if you want to, or you can just concentrate it on one subject. So if you're doing an interview or you've got a person, that kind of thing. So you can change the directionality of the inbuilt microphones to suit the kind of video that you're recording and the kind of sound that you want to record as well. If you want more out of the sound, there is now a new digital microphone that we've introduced as well. So as well as the ZR having Nikon's traditional hot shoe, which is the standard hot shoe that most manufacturers have used for years, it's now also a smart shoe as well. So there are some digital connectors on there. So we've now got the new microphone, which is the N10, and that will connect digitally as well as just sitting on the hot shoe. It will give you even better sound as well. So that, again, it's got 32-bit float support, an even better signal to noise ratio than out of the camera. And you've got, you can put the wind muff on it as well. So again, if you're doing interviews, that kind of thing, it will give you really, really crystal clear sound. Again, the microphone's got different pickup patterns as well. What I really like about it is there's a big record light that comes on when you're recording. You get one on the camera as well, but you can very, very clearly see from the front of the camera when it's actually recording video. In terms of the monitor, I mean, have a look at the camera. You know, I assume by the fact that you're still here that you want to learn a little bit about the ZR. I would urge you to pick it up and just have a little look at it and how good it is. The monitor is fantastic. It's bigger than the monitor on any other camera. 4-inch, really, really clear, 3070,000 pixel resolution. It's got a really high brightness level as well, which means that you can use it in daylight really clearly. And it uses DCI-P3 colour system, which I don't know much about, but from what I initially understood, it's like very high-end monitors use that. A lot of expensive gaming monitors use that. But this, the Z6 III was the first camera in the world to incorporate that. But I believe this is the first one to have it on its actual monitor rather than viewfinder. Again, you can do vertical shooting with it. So if you're shooting straight to, if you want to shoot to Instagram or TikTok, as my assistant is showing you, it's quite a good little format actually. My beautiful assistant is showing you. So yeah, you can see for different outputs of the social media and so on, the platform will know that it's been shot in vertical, so none of that sort of black top and bottom, straight there. Really does look good. Another nice thing, which I don't think that my presentation says, but just the actual usability of the camera in terms of the menu, it's exactly the same as our mirrorless sort of stills cameras, if you like. So you can find everything on there really quickly. There's obviously a lot more things to it because there's a lot more video control and functionality that you can have. But the menu design is very, very familiar. So don't think all of a sudden you're going to be, you know, overcome by it. It's really, really standard and quite straightforward to use. There's a little button on the back which is a menu button. If you tap it, it will bring up your iMenu. So that there you can configure your 12 most used features in the same way that you can on your stills cameras. But if you hold it down, it becomes the actual menu. And unlike the stills cameras, it's been a lot more simplified. So what we understand from the video industry is videographers don't really want a lot of buttons on their camera. They want to be able to do certain things, and therefore you can customize it. There is a button on the front you can customize. There's 3 buttons on the top you can customize as well. But in its overall sort of use, it can be actually very simplistic in terms of you set it up how you want to, and then you just press the various buttons for different things. You can have different user presets as well. So if you want one, so let's say you wanted one mode for vlogging where it's a low resolution and so on, and then you wanted another one for your high-end work where you want it to suddenly be in one of the raw formats, then you can very quickly do that at the touch of one of the 1, 2, 3 buttons on the top. So really, really easy to configure the camera for your particular use. In terms of its ergonomics as well, it's a Nikon, so you know it's going to feel nice in your hands. We've really thought about it. It is kind of, as I said, it's a bit more minimalist, less of a grip on it than you have on your traditional sort of stills cameras, but there is an additional grip that you can get, which we've got here. So small rig make grip. There are all sorts of cages and so on, which I'll show to you as well. So if you want a bit more of a grip on it, you can get the small rig grip. Otherwise, if you want to use it on a gimbal or on any kind of rig, be it rails or what have you, then it can become quite sort of simplistic and take up as little space as possible. which is what videographers typically want. There's also some really nice controls on it, which any of you that have already been using video features on cameras like the Z9, the Z6 III will already know. But we've got things like view assist. So if you're applying a lookup table or applying a LUT to it, you can stick that on and you can see the effect of the LUT before you shoot, and it won't actually bake it into the video footage, which means that you can use proxy files, which cuts down your editing time by a huge amount. And then you've got all the other things that videographers want, so you've got things like zebra pattern, focus peaking, that kind of thing, and they're all very easily accessible by the touch of a button on the back of on the screen. What was the other one? Waveform as well. So for videographers, waveform is almost like a histogram which shows you the areas of the frame and where the sort of the highlights and the shadows are within the frame and your midtones. So for videography, that's kind of a standard tool to help you get the right exposure from one shot to the next. Other thing we've put in there is shutter angle, which is something that a lot of videographers want. For those of you that don't know what shutter angle is, it's basically the relationship between the frames per second and the shutter speed. So to give you an example, typically to get a sort of a natural look to your videos, you'd use a shutter angle of 180 degrees. And this all comes back to the days of when film cameras were actually film, and it was how long the shutter was open for. And 180 degrees meant that the shutter was open for half of the frames per second rate, which typically will give you a nice look. But if you wanted a kind of more dreamy, flowy look, you'd have a 360 degree shutter angle, which means that the shutter is always open. Obviously there's no shutter, it's all electronic, but that means that if you were shooting at 25 frames a second, you'd be on a 25th of a second. That would give you a kind of more dreamy sort of look. If any of you can remember, the example I always give is the Saving Private Ryan opening sequence. They wanted that to look quite unnerving and quite unnatural and make you feel uneasy, so they used a really small shutter angle on that, which made it look, the movement was really staccato, and it gave a particular feel that made you feel like that. So videographers have been asking for that for a long time, and as I said, we put it into our mirrorless cameras with firmware, but it's at launch it comes in with the ZR. Focusing is really great as well. As I said at the beginning, it's effectively similar technology to the Z6 III in terms of the focusing, and because it's got a semi-stacked sensor, it's very fast and accurate focusing. And in fact, the focus on these cameras is actually much better than cinema cameras in the industry. Something that Nikon have really perfected. So focus on this. I'm not putting red down. We don't want to put red cameras down. They're great and they're amazing for what they do. But actually, with red cameras, you probably wouldn't want to use the autofocus in the camera. It's not great. But the autofocus in this is brilliant. So you've got all your subject detection options. Everything, whether it's bird detect, human detect, all of that, vehicle detect. You can use all of those. Every single option you've got on the likes of the Z9, Z8, Z6 III, you've got on this as well. So really good. In terms of the VR as well, so if you're running and gunning, you're running hand holding the camera, and you want to keep the images as steady as possible, you've got a 5-axis VR, which is really effective. I mean, the feedback we've had from photographers and videographers using this, and to be fair, our stills cameras as well, it really does help eliminate any sort of camera shake. Really good. Also, it's completely fanless. I don't want to put our competitors down, but some of our competitors' cameras have been known to overheat a little bit. So their cinema range typically have fans built in, which can be noisy and so on. This camera doesn't need a fan. Nikon have really perfected that technology so that it won't overheat. If you were using it in very extreme heat, there is a possibility that it might get hot, but in normal conditions, none whatsoever. So a question I've had is, will there be a fan on the market? I think that probably there will be. Some third-party manufacturer will bring to market a fan for working in very extreme conditions. But under any normal circumstances, it's just not going to overheat, no matter what frames per second rate you're using or what codec you're using and so on. You can also have long record times on it, so up to over 2 hours recording if it's powered, or if it's battery operated, 95 minutes. When this camera first came out, we did some training on it, and we were using it beside the red Komodo to kind of look at the differences and understand the strengths and weaknesses of each camera. And in terms of the battery life, this stands up to a red. It's really good, actually. 95 minutes just from one charged battery of record time, which is amazing. Really, really good. Another new feature that we've put in is the ability to stream via frame.io, which is a video cloud streaming service. So you can actually shoot straight to the frame.io cloud.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Apologies, just
no, not at all.
our kid
Not
was
at all.
sick at school.
No, that's quite all right. All the best. Take care. Oh, someone.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's very fast. It allows you to back up your images, your videos remotely as well. And I'll be honest, I don't know a huge amount about it, but I know that it's fairly well used within the video industry for people that just want to have a bit of a backup. So when you're shooting, you know it's being saved somewhere else as well. And again, if you subscribe to the cloud, then that can all be done automatically as well. Another thing which I don't think I said this morning, but the Z, what is one of the great things about the Nikon Z mount is it is the largest bayonet mount of any camera, certainly 35mm format camera on the market, which means that you can adapt any other lens to a Nikon camera. So for videographers out there that are already using Sony or Canon or Panasonic or even ARRI PL mount, you can adapt all of those lenses to the Nikon Z system via a third-party adapter. So for videographers that are coming from different brands, you don't have to worry. You don't have to suddenly buy all Nikon lenses because you can adapt, which is a really nice feature to have. And in terms of the system, I don't know how clearly you can see on there, but there are a lot of third-party manufacturers that we've been working with, like SmallRig and Tascam and Atomos, Blackmagic, to enable you to have whatever sort of third-party addition to your video setup that you need. So for a lot of videographers, you might want a cage. I've mentioned the grip already. You might want the ability to put on a V-mount battery, because for the video industry, that's a standard battery. As I said, you know, the batteries on this are really admirable, but the V-mount batteries, you can get much bigger ones, which will last a lot longer. So you could put your camera on a rail system, have a battery at the back. If you wanted, you could have an additional monitor on the top, although it's argued that you don't necessarily need to. You could put in various microphones as well as the Nikon one. It will work with Sennheiser mics, but there's also a Tascam XLR adapter as well. So for a lot of high-end video work, you might want to use XLR for your sound output, so you can do that via the Tascam adapter. So there's a lot of different things, ways of rigging out the camera for your particular needs. But as I said, if you're sort of a one-man band or a vlogger, you don't need to buy any additional things for it. You know, it will work straight out of the box, and it's got basically everything that you need to get you some really good video with really good sound recording as well. But it is also, I mean, I wouldn't say it's primarily aimed at the stills market, but there's no reason why you can't use it as a stills camera. And I wouldn't be surprised if some photographers pick one up as a kind of a street camera. You know, it's almost reminiscent of a Leica in terms of its sort of size and shape. And being the 24 million pixel, it's very good in low light. There is a little switch on the back. You can switch it from on the top, from stills to video, so you can easily go from one to the other. A question we've had a fair bit since that's come out is what would I get, that or a Z6 III? And you know, it depends what you're primarily doing. I think if you're primarily shooting stills, then definitely the Z6 III. If it's more video, then definitely this. And if you want to take advantage of the red colour sites, then definitely this. But effectively, they will both give you very similar sort of quality in terms of their video. So yeah, really good in terms of the stills. 7.5 stock focus point VR, same as the ZR, same as the Z6 III, which means the VR is very effective on there. And it's got that very low EV sensitivity as well, so the focus will work in down to -10. So really, you know, really admirable as a stills camera as well as a video camera. That's kind of it. It's just a sort of a little summary of all the features there. You know, it's an all-in-one system. You've got all those sort of the advantages of the red colour science that we talked about, and a completely flexible workflow. You know, you can use it as simplistically or as advanced as you want to, depending on exactly where you're at with your videography. But this is, I would say, just a start for Nikon with video. There will definitely be more to come. And without giving too much away, we've hinted that there will be a range of lenses coming up soon as well, cinema lenses. So we don't know what they're going to be exactly, but probably I would imagine a range of really nice cinema quality primes that will be really great. So yeah, that's about it on that. Does anyone have any particular questions on the ZR? Yes.
Is the R3D is that a log format?
It's a log, so it's a Nikon version of the R3D, but it fits perfectly with the R3D format. Yeah. So I don't know exactly how it works. I mean, that's probably I'm not a massive cinema expert myself. The other road shows we have my colleague Bruno, who knows a lot more about video than I do as a videographer. Do we know the exact relationship between R3D and the red? It's
bitrate is different because red has 14
it's
bits,
14
Nikon
bit,
has
not
12 bits. That means reorganization, you know, this codec to work with Nikon camera, because if sensor is different, you know, that'd be like that. That'd be cosmetic change.
But it's impossible.
But
to
it
fit,
you know, if you change for Nikon RAW for Z9, Z8, NEF to red, you know, dot red system, that'd be red codec work for, you know, for Da Vinci. That'd be work. That'd be different color, but that'd be work.
But it's not changing it to a red format. It's just
but work, not
yes,
exactly the same, but you have almost full option, but coloristic is different for original, but work.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that's a good point. It's something that a lot of videographers have commented on, but a lot of them assume that it changes the file format. It doesn't. It just means it.
Yes, but it gives you more, for you can more options for editing colors. You know,
yeah.
That'd be different, but you have more options.
Yeah, cool.
What does it store to?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't even mention that. Same as our mirrorless cameras, so XQD or CF Express Type B. Obviously, especially if you're shooting the raw formats, you're better off with CF Express. But XQD will work fine as well for the sort of the lower.
But there is an SD.
Sorry?
There's no SD card.
So there's a micro SD as well.
Micro.
Yeah, so the micro SD, you could look at that two ways, because you can get those quite big. You could use it as a backup, or you could use it to put your LUTs in as well. So if you're downloading LUTs from the internet, then you could put those into the micro SD and just almost like forget it's there. But inherently it's XQD, same, which is the same as red, same as our existing camera. So again, it fits in really nicely with the workflow for people that are using reds already.
And the sound is recorded onto the card?
Yes, all together.
Not separately?
Yeah, I mean, it must be like a separate, I don't know how it's done it, but it must be as a separate thing, but it's all seamlessly put together for playback and editing, yeah.
And does the microphone work on any of the other cameras?
No. No, it's a new digital shoe which is only compatible with this camera at this stage. I'm sure there will be, in the future, more cameras it will be compatible with, but at the moment just is. Yeah, yeah.
Are there lots available to download separately from?
Yeah, yeah.
Would they be usable on, say, footage you've shot on the Z6 III?
Yeah. There's no reason why not. Yeah, you can apply them to other cameras as well. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Okay. Good stuff. Well, we're around for a little while. Feel free to have a go. I don't know if we want to go up on the roof, if anyone wants to try anything in particular.
Yeah,
see what the
we can
view's
check
like.
it out because the windows are a bit mucky here.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to grab any kit and go up, you feel free to not, or whatever you want, you can stay here. I guess one of us will start, I'll stay down here if you guys want to go up. But if you want to, if you don't, then that's cool. But if you've got any further questions,
Możesz sobie próbować coś na dachu, ale nie chcę mi się.
Nie, muszę iść do toalety.
and we'll the feedback from everyone that's used them and the few podcasts where it's important, they really like.
Thank you so much. I'm go. Yeah, thank you so much for it. Yes, I know. But to be here, thank you so much.
Take care. See you. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for coming along.
Bye.
Nice to see you. I appreciate you making the effort.
I'm coming from Belfast, you know.
Oh, okay. Oh, did you?
Yes.
Wow. Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you for making that long journey.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, all the best.
I hope to see you next year.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Well, one thing we did actually is we hired some to look at it and look at the comparison. It still is a lot nicer. And that's something that's also dominating the industry because different prices, but in that sort of price bracket is by far the best seller. So this is up against that. This is cheaper and much better specs than the Sony. So Nikon have really thought about, I think, the introduction to cinema and done this for.
It's very good camera for very good price.
Yeah, exactly.
For this price, you don't have anything else.
Yeah.
For this price, this is only one camera for have insight that would have. Not be perfect, you know, but it's the best for this price.
Yeah, and one thing I didn't say, because one of the big objections is the mini HDMI.
Yeah.
So you can buy one of the small rig grips. You can put in a converter to a large HDMI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we must wait for more cinema lens dedicated. That'd be great system.
Yeah.
But that'd be great because people for use it, you know, red big camera for not important for very risk, you know, Stan can use that Nikon, but have the same system lens, you know, almost the same colors.
Yes. Yeah. It fits in. It fits in very nicely from what I understand. Yeah.
I hope for next generation for more pro, Nikon have the same, exactly the same codec, same colors.
Oh, I'm sure.
I hope.
I would have thought so. I can't see it changing. Yeah.
You think Z9 have the same global shutter for red camera and the same codec video?
Oh, for the protector, the sensor shield.
No, global sensor.
Global shutter, sorry, I misunderstood. I don't know, it's a good question. I think Nikon will do it when we feel that the technology is right to do it. I think now that we've got that sort of coalition with Red, maybe, I don't know. I mean, a lot of videographers are asking for it for obvious reasons.
I think this camera can be jak to jest, że nie może być konkurencją? Can be you know, problem for Red for the same, you know, concurrent. Can be concurrent. That'd be Nikon, that'd be lower camera, but is that be great for have the same color?
Yeah. I mean, there's still reasons why you would buy a Komodo over this. It's still better in many respects. You know, this is not going to kill that part of the market. But I know what you mean. I think, maybe in the future we will. I'm sure when the technology is right, we will incorporate a global shutter. But I just don't know when that's going to be, or whether it will be the next generation.
Sensor can be slower, you know, something like that. But for colors, it's important for video. That'd be the same. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Bye. Have a nice day.
Can someone open the door for us?
Oh yes, of course. I'll grab it for you.
I think you need to go first.
Do you want a hand? Do you want me to carry that? Sure.
Not be.
Okay. Sorry about the setup. We didn't really consider the accident.
Czekaj,
No nie ty, on.
ale ja bo on nie przejdzie, jak ja nie przejdę.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll review. I mean, we like things about this place, but from an accessibility perspective, it wasn't ideal. So I do apologise.
Okay. Który out somehow.
Yes, of course. All right, well, lovely to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, bye.
Bye-bye.
No zobaczymy. Tak staniemy na jakimś tym.
Kawę?
Gdzie? Ale to w tym, nie? Na Cepenie.
Na Pellegrinie gdzieś?
No. Na tym, że zawsze stajemy. Za lotniskiem. A, ja mówię, co mi tutaj tak ten, a ja nie mam autoiso. No od razu lepiej. Mówisz? Dobra, czekaj, wyjmę te rzeczy tutaj, otworzę drzwi. No już idę, otwieram tutaj wszystkie drzwi, bo kamerką nagram pożegnanie, to na razie mogę złożyć tutaj. Schowam sobie ZF-a do tego. To tylko ja. To niechcący, weź tam zaraz przeciwbóla. Tutaj wezmę tak. Obczaję fanty, co dostałem. Wyłączę tutaj autko. I zaraz Zobaczmy, co mam za fanta. O! Z Cinema. Kozacko. NPS, jakiś naklejka czy coś. I batonik. Spoko. Nikon Cinema. Z Cinema. Batonika zaraz zjem, tylko do tyłu. Cześć Wam, do zobaczyska. Bardzo czekaj, bo mi ten uciekł. Uciekła mi kamera. Bardzo ładne miejsce, muszę tu przyjechać Prosto niby miałem jechać, widziałaś? Przez ten.
Jak?
Nie wiem właśnie. Przez ten deptak.
In 300 yards, turn left onto
Włączę
Jako
sobie
Street.
ogrzewanie kierownicy, bo mnie palce bolą.
In 210 yards, turn left and then
Taki
left
kawał,
again.
teraz musimy jechać, masakra. No tutaj muszę bryknąć, i zakaz w lewo, dobra. Jeszcze czerwone światło. Nie wiem, jak ja tam prosto miałem pojechać, jak tam był zakaz wjazdu. Ej, mapa, ty się trochę
Bateria ci dycha 11%.
Śnieg z deszczem straszy tutaj nas. Jedziemy już do domu. Kawa zakupiona. Pęcherz opróżniony. I jedziemy do domciu. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle fly away. Dzyn, 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 dzyn. Śnieg, śnieżyca. I dotarła do nas. My jeszcze prawie w domu. Jeszcze z pół godziny, 40 minut.